So, you want to be an it girl? Hello and welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today I am joined by the two band members of Friends at the Falls, Matt and Jake. Welcome guys to the podcast.
How are we doing, Marley?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, okay. So which one of you is which for our audience?
Well, I'm Jake, singer of Friends at the Falls.
Love it.
Then this is my voice.
And I'm Matt. I'm the drummer.
Love that.
And that's his voice.
That's my voice.
Okay, good. So, good. Very good. So now there'll be no confusion ever and everyone knows exactly.
From here on out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay, I want to go really far back.
Please.
Okay, where did you grow up? When did music come into your life? When did you two meet?
All right. Well, I'll start with where we're from.
Sure.
We're from Mahopac, New York. Technically Carmel, New York, but we went to Mahopac High School.
Okay.
We live spitting distance of each other since we were probably first grade, how old are you when you were in first grade?
6.
I'm bad with that. 6? Okay, so 6.
That was very confident.
Yeah, I'm really not good with the age to grade ratio. But yeah, so we live very close and we've done pretty much everything you could think of together. Summer jobs, school, then full jobs, and now this. And I think in terms of music, it's always been around each other's lives. I mean, my dad always had a guitar lying on the couch, and you took drum lessons since like 3rd grade, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jake and I often will you might even see throughout this podcast, we weave through each other's sentences very fluently. And people even say, like Jake said, we worked a couple of summer jobs together. And people would be like, I've never had a friend that close.
Yeah, and people get weirded out by it.
Yeah, it's all right, I don't know. We're just close, I guess, because not only did we know each other since 1st grade, we're just interested in the same stuff. We hung out all the time. So it just feels so natural. And to other people, it's apparently not.
Not even to sound cliche. It's very yin and yang because I could be a little much and he backs off a little bit and in a good way where it's where I can be overzealous sometimes. He can bring
Was
it back.
it always that way?
Ooh. Yeah, I would say so. Because in the same breath, there could be times where Jake is very outspoken in a good way,
or a bad way.
we should be talking to these people, and it's because of Jake's charisma that we go over and we say hi and this and that, and there's like I said, yin and yang. It's a balance. So.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets me into trouble where I admire him very much for kind of keeping a cool head,
Yeah.
Cooler heads will roll,
I love that.
But yeah, to continue, we kind of, so long story short, there is a program in our high school called Illusion. Okay. And I can't believe it because I feel like high schools just don't do this. Picture a full audition process for the school to do a rock show. And you perform in front of about 1,000 people in the community. And yeah, and then so I was a singer and a bass player. I only tried out for bass because I knew I wasn't going to make it for guitar because everyone was way better than me.
Was that the popular category?
Yeah, for sure. So I can remember I wrote down my name sophomore year of high school for guitar. And the day of auditions, I went and crossed it off, said next year. Next year, I wrote it down. I said, you know what? I'm still not going to make it. Let me do bass. And I learned how to play bass. And I made it in.
Wow.
And then I had a friend of mine who wanted to try out for vocals. And he said, I'm not going to do it unless you do it. And I was like, I'm not a singer, but I'll do it for you. And it's sad, but I ended up making it in and he unfortunately didn't. But he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And Matt is a hell of a drummer. And you actually, I give you credit for your confidence and perseverance. You tried out long before I did.
I did. Yeah, like Jake said, it was really unique, the whole experience, because at the end of the semester, you'd play a show in front of nearly 1,000 people, basically the whole high school, plus families, friends, whatever. And every year I tried out, but they only take 2 or 3 drummers maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And same with most instruments.
2 basses, yeah.
So if there's, 1,500 kids in our school, it's pretty selective.
Yeah.
So, and I'd say there's a solid 75 to 100 kids that try out, I have the music kids,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like Jake said, he made it his junior and senior year, and then I made it my senior year.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just a taste of live music. We had been in a joking band. I wouldn't call it a joking band.
It was
a cover band.
It was fun. You played with your friends,
Oh, see, cover. I'm thinking it was your way to be Mom, I need to hang out with my friends.
We would do that anyway.
We had the tightest friend group in high school you could imagine, and our band name in high school was called Blanco Nino. And so I feel embarrassed. My mom's from Nicaragua.
Okay.
Fluent Spanish. She unfortunately never taught me, but it's so simple. It means like white kid or white kids.
Yeah.
And I only said it because I saw it from like that G.I. Joe sketch. Like it was like before memes were memes. And it's like, nice catch, Blanco Nino. And I was like, oh, it's funny. And I was like, wait a second, this could be a controversial banner. So
yeah,
wow.
I don't know if it would fly in 2021, but
I like it though. It's
thank
part
you.
of it.
It's daring.
Yeah. If there's anything that came out of that, it's that Jake started bringing like original music to the table.
Okay.
And it kind of like, I would say was almost the domino of like you wanting to go to school for music.
Yeah, because I was frustrated a little bit with it because we had so much fun, and then when it came to writing like originals, I started writing them, and to be honest, there were probably like 2 other members of that band who were creatively way higher than me. Like they were doing way more innovative stuff, but I was like kind of into like classic, cookie cutter songwriting.
Okay.
But I kept getting denied. And so at some point I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take these and record them myself. And there's no one else I'd rather be in it with than Matt. Like he is my drummer. And like, that's it. Like there's no one else I would play with. So he recorded the drums and I made Jake Stam, the most creative band name ever.
Very good.
And I released a 5-song EP. It was garbage, but I did it. In fact,
you did it.
You've heard this several times. I can prove it was garbage because there was, I forgot what the name of the blog was, but a pretty decent blog wrote about it. And I was like, what the hell? This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so the guy says, he's like, a lot of love out to Westchester. We're from Westchester County, it's called. Or Putnam County. There's a lot of love to Westchester. This kid's like just wrote this EP. I want to give it some love. And basically the way it worked is there would be 5 writers and they would put like a sentence or 2 of what they thought of your EP. And I can tell you confidently that I think it's 3 or 4 out of the 5 were awful. Like I got trashed. And I can be exact with this. One of them said, this is a bolognese of everything I hate about pop music.
Oh my God.
The other person said, this sounds exactly what I would think it sounds like to get your penis smashed by a hammer. And then I will be honest, I don't remember the other 2, but they were not positive. But then the only positive comment was the guy, and he was like, and it was pretty much just like hometown hero.
Yeah.
Like, like it's so great to hear. It wasn't even complimenting the music.
But you were doing it.
And you know something? What I tell people is that if I was going to quit, that was the time.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like, oh, maybe I'm not that good at this.
Totally.
And, a lot of hard work later, we're kind of getting to a place now this year where we're seeing some results, which feels good. A lot of TV placements and monthly listeners have gone up. And we're still, we always like to call it medium success, where we're still working hard. But there's a long way to go, but we're happy. We like to at least kind of have milestones.
I have an analogy for that. I call it, you've been drafted by the NFL, but you're not sure if you're starting or not.
You're not playing yet.
That's fair.
That is fair. That's a good one.
Yeah, I really like football analogies.
That's really applicable to like quarterbacks, because some quarterbacks can ride the bench for years.
For years.
Yeah.
And you're just as good. You work just as hard.
Tom Brady only got a shot because Drew Bledsoe got hurt.
Yeah, see, this I don't know.
And I'm not even that. See, when I was in like middle school, high school, I was still like into sports. Ever since then, I play more than I watch.
Gotcha.
That's the rest of my family.
Very good. So at what point is like this bad? How old are you? Where are you living?
It's the end
this whole your first EP that you're playing on.
There are 2 secret first EPs for this band that have been taken down.
Wiped off the face of the earth.
Off. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the end of sophomore year of college.
Okay.
And at that, how long ago was that now? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, that was probably like 2016.
Yes, 5, maybe 6 years ago. And we just decided that, hey, and I remember Matt distinctly said this, and I felt very similarly. He was like, I don't want to be the drummer for Jake Stam. And I was like,
that like that you said that.
Absolutely. And it's, I don't really have much of an ego with that stuff at all. So I was like, dude, I hate that you're the drummer for Jake Stam. So we decided, let's make a band name. Let's do this. We didn't even, it's not like my EP was great, one bad review. So at that point, we decided let's do it. So we were lifeguards at the time. We were brainstorming 5.
I can like see it now.
Yeah. That was the tannest I've ever been.
Same. We were dark.
It was cool. And there are 2 camps in our town, Sycamore and Camp Kiwi. And we went to Sycamore as kids. And that's like the townie camp where it's $150. You go send your kid there, and that's where boys become men.
Love it.
The other camp is like $5,000 per camper. And that is where I guess you learn fine dining. They had like catering.
They teach you how to fill out your country club application for the future.
But they're super nice owners. Like we love them dearly. But yeah, still, I think we're happy we went to Sycamore. But the reason I bring that up is we actually lifeguarded at both.
Oh, okay.
In college.
Yeah.
Over the summer, and we were at the kind of the prestigious one. When we formed this idea,
the country club one.
The country club one. And we were doing 5 band names a day. It did not matter how stupid they were, and eventually he landed on Friends of the Falls.
Where did that come from?
He's the godfather.
Like Jake said, I think we were not afraid of how stupid a band name can be, but we were also like, it's underratedly important decision, the band name, because like
it's the whole brand.
We always say like if the Beatles were called the Mashed Potato Boys, like would they be the Beatles, you know? So
which always amazes me because DJs and I'm a huge EDM person, or I was at once upon a time, so I don't mean to like slam it by any means, but like EDM names are the dumbest.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of, and we're not like saying ours is the best in the world, but it's at least unique. Yeah. And it has a little bit of like where we came from in it. We grew up around Croton Falls, New York. So Falls always like valued our friendship like a step above the musicianship. So like this is, you know, what we hold most dear to our heart, like what we value the most. Friends of the Falls just kind of made sense.
I always tell him that I don't like hate our band name. I don't dislike it.
I like it.
But I wish it was shorter.
Really?
And there's some things I wish we could have changed, but at the same time, he hit the nail on the head. I'm more thankful that it could have been way worse. I have the original list. It's an opaque yellow, which was a nice white loose leaf at one point because it's so old. And it says every band name. There's so many. There's like Moon Bear. There's Mouse Hero, or I don't even know. There's a bunch of random animals mixed with adjectives.
I love that.
It's weird, yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, we come up with Friends of the Falls, and then for the better part of junior year,
did you agree on a sound at this point?
We've always had overlapping sound.
Okay,
I feel like
I think our influence always came because we listened to bands like The Killers, Coldplay, like Walk the Moon, 1975.
Yeah, and ever since, I think for me, I'm very stubborn with my music, or what I listen to, because I pretty much listen to the same 4 or 5 bands a day.
Oh, well, you're better than me. I listen to the same 4 or 5 songs a day.
but like if you're accepted into my clan, you have a real fan. Like I buy the merch. I am very happy being
you're committed.
I'm the biggest Killers fan in the world. So I'm a dedicated fan. But Matt, I heavily admire because he knows all the cool kid stuff, man.
I think I'm big on like music discovery. So like I'll kind of like find my way through Spotify to see what upcoming bands are popping off right now. And I think it also helps with the music business side of it because like we want to know what labels which artists labels are signing these days and like what are their numbers like. So I'm always like, oh, Jake, check out this band. They're pretty good.
Yeah. And I try not to make excuses for myself, but there was a time where we were pretty in line with like that and discovering bands and everything. And then I kind of fell off, and it's just because I feel like there's so much stuff to be done as a duo. Yeah. And we kind of separate the jobs.
I was literally just about to ask that.
Yeah. And we do a good job of it too, but there's certainly there's bleed into each other's jobs, you know?
Well, and then so let's get into this. First off, when are you guys like, we're doing this professionally just for context?
Yeah. So here we go. So we made the band, and I think by the end of junior year of college, we had made an EP.
Did you two go to college together too?
No, we could have. He got accepted to my school.
So you're doing this not together.
Not together.
Yeah. The commitment. Love it.
Yes.
And I think we're closer because we didn't go to school together.
I agree.
I actually really agree with that with kids you grow up with.
We were able to like really become individuals, and then after college,
sort of
like
amoeba to each other's friends too. Yeah, my friends are his friends, and his friends are my friends.
Totally,
you know, it was nice. But by the end of junior year, we had made a record called Croton. I believe it was junior year. Yeah, and then we also the next year had one called We Are Friends, and both. They're very clearly us like dipping our toe in the water. Very clearly, like production is low grade, and I sound like a child. And I used to have something that one of our old friends told me about called basement syndrome.
What's that?
So when I used to be in the basement of my home, I was embarrassed when I was used to sing for the first time because you don't get used to the sound of your voice. What do the people upstairs think about it? And so I used to kind of sing like down here, like kind of scared. And like, I don't want anyone to hear me, but I want to sound good. And yeah, so that carried over for a bit, especially into those first 2 records.
Okay.
And
And this is
we had to address that. It's like 2017.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't until 2018 with our EP Wild in Our Ways that we really were like, this is like a good staple of professionalism, both like songwriting wise, production, like
give her a date. June 2nd, 2018.
Wow.
When Stay All Night came out, that's what we consider our initial start date.
Love it.
It was like, okay, we're serious. The production's there. The songwriting's getting better. We kind of knew it was exactly what we wanted to do. And and so then we ran with it from there on out.
Yeah. It was also like when we released Stay All Night, our best performing song on Spotify. Like right away we got on Discover Weekly, so it pops like we woke up, we're like
the algorithmic stuff,
yeah, we're like, oh, we got like 14,000 streams in a day, whatever it is. And our streaming numbers are getting better. They're not like astronomical yet, but that was the first taste of like, okay, like clearly the other ones just sat, collected dust, but these are being listened to. These new songs.
I think I gotta hand it to the up production value. We decided that if there was anything we've done an amazing job. I don't want to say penny pinching, but being frugal with our spending and knowing what to spend on. So I think a lot of bands fail because they're like, oh wait, I'm going to pay for marketing and production and can you record my record and all this stuff. But you got to hold back, man. You got to pick and choose your battles. Right. So for me, I went to school for audio engineering. And even before that, I kind of had an idea of like how to record a decent song, you know? And so what our secret sauce is that I will track everything I'll like track and mix our whole song. We send it out to big shout out to Andrew Maury, who does all of our mixing. He is a godsend.
Love that.
He's one of the people that are in our corner that like we couldn't live without. And so we said if there's going to be anything we spend money on, it's going to be the songs. Okay. And then after that, we get them mastered and voila, finished Friends of the Fall song. Yeah. But we got that advice initially from the drummer of a band called Small Pools. You probably heard maybe one or two of their songs, but maybe don't know it.
I probably don't know it. Yeah. So, I'm like horrible. Like my boyfriend's like, this is My Chemical Romance. I'm like, cool. Yeah.
I was listening to them today in the gym. But yeah, so we see the show. We loved them at the time. It was like, oh my God. And even still now. And so we go up to the drummer after the show and we say, what is your advice for a band that's like us, you know? Because he said, good songs. He's like, you're nothing without good songs. Yeah. And we found ourselves at that time like, oh, let's try to get on a tour. Let's try to do this, and this. Right. But you can't really do it unless you have a good song.
The product comes first.
Question.
Yeah.
Like the thing you actually want to be good. Like that's literally how I feel about the podcast. Like it's the podcast first. Like, you know, for the first year, little under a year, I didn't give a fuck about the Instagram. I was like, I literally can't care about it. Like I just can't. But the thing is like, you have to put it in on the thing you want to actually be doing. Yeah. Because if not, you're not a band. You're a touring personality.
And that's exactly it. Yeah. And like, especially on that note, you kind of have to play the part and, how do I put this? You have to play the part both in a live sense and a recording sense. And you have to wear a lot of hats. Right. And we just had this conversation with our buddy named Brian where like, is it better to be a jack of all trades or a master of one?
I know, it's a tough one.
And I think in this day and age, it's impossible to be a master of one because
I agree.
You cannot just say, oh, I'm the best guitarist in the world and run with it. Some people can for sure. But I think if you're in your 20s at this point right now,
it's so
you have to know how to do everything.
Yeah. And it's to your point too, like, there is the songwriting, there is the tour aspect, there is the social media management, there is there's so many different things to juggle.
Emails? We edit all our music videos. It used to be both of us. It's mostly him now. So the way it's split sort of generally right now is business and creative.
Okay, that was literally where I was going.
And I was going to say, if anyone can see this, I'm pointing at Matt for business.
They can.
But like I said, we very much bleed into each other's thing. Like, so we have our own connections that we've built over the years, both individually and together. So like, if we're playing a show in New York, that's like my market. Right. So like, I'll be the one to reach out. And same goes for him with like, just probably day to day. Yeah. For me, I'll work like 10 hours hard one day, like hard. I won't leave my computer. Yeah. And then the next 2 days, I might not, you know? Yeah. He puts in a nice, consistent 3 or 4 hours every morning.
Yeah. I feel like I'm both of you. Yeah. That's so interesting you say that. I think it was Liza Schlesinger. I was listening to her talk on a podcast. She's a stand-up comedian. And she was saying like, you know, she's a creative person and that's really what she does. Yes, I think she's very smart and she does have business savvy, but she's like, you know, some days I just have to like watch Seinfeld and clean my office because that's all you can do.
Or Curb Your Enthusiasm,
yeah,
guys.
and then like that's all you can do because you've burnt out on it, and so you have to like creatively recharge. But then I'm like, well, if you spread it out, does it last longer? I'm not sure.
Right. Well,
you go, buddy.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we do a good job of balancing all of the hats that we have to wear because, like Jake said, he's the primary songwriter, and like he'll be focusing on like the tracking and producing of this track that we're working on today, and I'll be like sending off emails for Spotify marketing or this and that. But Jake will take time to be like, I want to get on this show. I'm going to send out an email. Or I have like, Jake, I have some demos that I've been working on. Let me show you some.
He gives me some good demos. Like there's a new song on our new record, Be the Change EP, called Like We Used To. And that's all Matt. He came in and for some reason, like, let's say hypothetically that I made that demo that he did.
Yeah.
It may collect dust because I'm very critical on my work. But since Matt gave it to me, or someone else, could have been anyone, it could be my mom, who cares? I get so jazzed up so quick. Aww. So he gave me the demo. I was like, give me every stem to this song right now. I'm going for it. And
I don't even know what a stem is.
It's like the individual tracks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
and to Jake's point, like you can get in your own head and be like, whatever the notes are, C, G, D. Yeah. And you're like, this is the worst thing ever. And then I give him the same thing, C, G, D. And he's like, this is amazing. This is beautiful.
You know, you said this would happen. I'm taking your water.
Take it.
Okay, so music seems glamorous, right?
Yes.
Being in a band, like, living life. Tell us about the glamorous side first.
Yeah, I mean...
What are the cool things?
I think what revs my engines all the time, what kind of keeps me going, is that it's so possible for Matt and I, or anyone who really puts the correct work in, and years of perseverance. We're firm believers that there might be artists that pop off in a year or two, but... I think more often than not, your new success, your new artist has been around for 7 or 8 years.
No, that's how I feel. I'm saying an overnight success took 10 years.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm a firm believer in that. But the glamorous part of it for me is the goal, is the end goal. Is that we've never wanted fame or fortune. We've just wanted to play our songs in front of as many people as possible because the live shows is where it's at for us. And that's kind of what keeps me going. Is like that beacon of light where it's like, oh, I can do this. Me and Matt can do this. The songs are there. The production's there. Let's just stay in the game long enough.
Gotcha.
And we like the idea of building something up from the ground up.
Yeah.
So like the fact that we've been here doing this for X amount of years and now we're seeing some results from it, and like we still have our eyes set forward. Like this is how far we can go. There's really no ceiling to it.
Yeah,
so it's exciting.
I agree, man.
You know, and I guess you're from New York, so it's a little different. People are a little more like
so we moved to LA about 2.5 years ago, and by the time we left, we had amassed like a crowd of like 250 people to a show. And it was solid. It was something you could definitely tip your hat at. And the rule of thumb that you hear on, if you were to like Google, how do I get a booking agent or manager's attention? They'll say, well, listen, if you can bring 100 people in your hometown, trust me, you'll get the attention. Trust me, we played it 4 times and sold out like a 250 cap venue and we got no attention.
Okay, that was my follow-up question.
And that's the not glamorous, I guess, part of it. But,
the flip side.
But you gotta have the thicker skin. You gotta take, we do you know what I love that we do? We laugh, we make a joke out of it.
Totally.
Like, oh, buddy, guess what? That booking agent we wanted, he said no. It's like, oh, okay, that's great, buddy.
Have you read Tim Grover's book?
He's a reader.
You should.
What is it called?
Resilience.
Okay, I'll try it out.
It's I'm not even going to spoil it. But it, but it's all about like, you're going to hear a million notes. All you need is one yes.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And that's it. So when we started for the first year, or I could say 2 years maybe, I have a
How many years has it been, too?
I think so. Here's the order.
Okay. 3
serious years where we were like, we're doing this.
Got it.
2018.
And probably 4.5 years of like, where the conception
what are we
came.
doing? Yeah. That feels so similar to me.
Yeah. And that's it feels like not a long time at all. Because when you think about that, I mean, it depends what your mindset is. But for me, 5-6 years isn't a long time. In my I guess like for what we're building, and I guess I kind of know the gravity of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. I feel like it could be 8 to 10 years, and like that's where it starts to like.
And it's like, this is year what again?
What year is this? I'd say since we've been taking it seriously, like year 3.
Yeah. Okay. And that's there's some traction.
Yeah. Like that's where that EP that we kept up, we released. And then everything before that was like dipping our toes in the water, like figuring ourselves out.
And again, it just comes with the hardships. We mentioned it to you briefly before that, like, we've had some lineup changes. We've had like the move. There's always, there's some things that happen that it's okay. Like it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's still forward moving, you know?
Exactly.
And it all goes into like how much of a beating can you take?
Yeah.
I feel like we've been taking a good beating and we like it.
Yeah.
We're like Rocky. We're the Rocky of small bands.
I like that for you. I like that. When did you make the move to LA?
January 2019.
And you moved together?
Yes.
Yes. You was already like, that was figured out.
Yeah.
Why LA over New York?
We moved into a house of 7 people.
Ooh,
which went down to 5, which went down to 2.
So now it's just you 2.
It's just us 2.
And a dog.
There were some girlfriends. There was some drama. And luckily, I think our living situation with us 2 has been lovely.
Yeah. That's nice.
I think one of the main reasons LA was the choice was because, like everyone says, you know, the music industry is so hot out here. And at least in terms of networking, it really is. We've met a lot of great people just by like going to shows and, you know, reaching our neck out here and saying hi. So
I still prefer the live scene in New York, but I think I'm a little biased just from A, growing up there, and B, us having great shows there. But I do agree that the networking here, we've met so many great people.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I feel like it follows us, not just like the stigma of our band name, but like whenever we come in contact with people, we tend to want to be friends with whoever we're coming in contact with. It's just natural. We're like any connection we make, we try to make that bond as close as possible.
Tell me about the people that are in the scene.
In the scene?
The scene where the cool kids hang out and make music. You know, the people like...
Well, we can tell you some of the people who have helped us out so far, given us guidance at least.
We've had a couple people.
What are they like?
It depends on the person.
All different shapes and sizes.
Like, shout out to Keith, our friend Keith.
Yeah, Keith is
he works at Universal Music Group.
Oh, cool.
And he works in the sync department.
And he gives us some good guidance.
Yeah.
That's it. He's by no means like a manager or this. He's just like a friend who believes in us and like helps us out.
Mentoring.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
It's like over this past year, he was able to introduce us to the producers of Love Island USA.
Oh, wow.
We've had, how many songs? We had 9?
9 songs on it from that.
On Love Island.
Shut the fuck up.
And that helps you out. It helps you out.
That's sick.
It's exposure and like financially like great.
Yeah.
So
one night, our song "You Don't Have to Be Alone" had 86 Shazams, and then within the hour, what did it have?
It was like 3,500.
I didn't know Shazam gave stats, but of course,
for artists, I think it does. Or I think for everyone.
Yeah. But
cool.
it's definitely been useful in that sense. And then he's also just a great friend now. Like we went kayaking last week.
I can't wait to go bowling with him next. You know,
right. So people are giving.
Yeah.
Oh,
are there people that are shitty?
Absolutely.
Sure. Of course.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the
naturally.
Thing. And naturally. That's the thing is I think you have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And you kind of soon, like we met so we have a song called Just a Little More. And let me start by saying that not out of like an egotistical thing. We don't really collaborate much with other people because I think we're still trying to make our own brand and make our own sounds. So like we don't want that to be too premature and like collaborate with other people.
Totally.
But that being said, we met 2 really shady managers who tried to really wine and dine us. They brought us to a great restaurant.
Wow.
And, but we ended up...
That sounds so LA.
It was actually New York.
It was New York.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And we met they introduced us to this kid, our age, and he's from Amsterdam. His name's Martin. And that's probably the best thing that came out of it. First of all, Martin's the man, and we are still good friends with him. And he's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
But the 2 guys were like, dude, they sat us down. They're like, so what do you guys think about going pop? And it immediately did not have our interest in mind and like kind of what we wanted. And they were very nice. And then they ended up deading us. But what came out of it was Martin, he's a good guy.
Man.
Just a Little More is probably one of my favorite songs, and it was severely. When we made it, I was certain, and this is like the attitude we have with so many songs, pretty much every song. We're like, this is gonna be it. Yeah, this is the hit. We did it.
I
High
think that's
five.
what you need, right?
You know what? And it's amazing. I unplugged my headphones, but
they weren't even really.
They weren't really working in the first place. But anyways, I don't want them to work. There we go. Cool. And so we're like, high five. We did it. And sure enough, it was one of our more lukewarm songs, and which was shocking to me. It was like, oh man. So you never really know what the people want and when they want it,
right?
Because we've noticed that every time if we release a song in November, November's cursed for us.
Really,
it doesn't do well.
That's my birthday month.
I'm sorry.
I think it's because it's right around the holidays. People want to listen to Christmas music, not like indie rock.
I actually hate Christmas music, so yeah. So you can send it to me. I'll listen to it.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
So like, there's timing's everything.
It's cursed.
Sure.
Really, I feel like
November's cursed, and I don't feel great about February.
Okay. Well, let's get into the sound then. What's
our sound?
Yes.
We talk about this a lot. We aim for alternative rock at all costs.
Okay.
But sometimes land on indie rock and or the hybrid.
Sure.
So essentially, when we write a song, Matt's actually gotten really good at this and reminded me, like, we want this to fill a stadium, an arena. Mm-hmm. That's the band we want to be. We don't want to be very popular these days are like kids that want to be known as their bedroom pop band where they're sad boy. And
that's
they're wearing a beanie. They have a couple of sleeve tattoos.
Fall Out Boy.
Yeah. And they're sitting in their room making 8-bit
which I love,
sounds, which is cool. But there's some, and I'm not downing them. That's just it's the brand right now. And we don't really fit that mold where we want to be, captain of the ship, and just be, I don't even know what the best way to put it. We want to be at the front of a giant crowd, which is so easy to say, but that's what we want to emulate in our songs too. That's where the special part comes from, is that we don't want to just have a small sound to fill a small room.
I think that it comes across in the bands that we admire so much that they're the ones topping the festival bills, the Killers, Coldplay, whatever it is. Like, these are the ones that are playing to tens of thousands of people. Maybe, I don't want to speak for you, Jake, but sometimes we put pressure on ourselves, like especially Jake with the songwriting, because it's easy to pump out like a quick pop melody, and like we definitely have indie pop influences as well, but we want to try to like lean alternative rock just because we've kind of realized that those are the bands that last.
Yeah.
Some indie pop bands or pop music in general can burn really bright, really fast, and that's awesome. But then it doesn't like last,
I've talked about this. I want to be the Twinkie of alternative rock, not a carrot.
I need you to change that because I don't like Twinkies.
I'm sorry, but I've made that analogy
Twinkies
before.
last forever.
Remember? Oh, I get it. I thought you meant like everybody likes a Twinkie. And I was like,
you remember when I made that up?
They last forever.
I was like, I want to be a Twinkie.
You pulled it out of your back pocket.
Yeah, I did. Last forever. And a carrot, although I love carrots, will eventually spoil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? We want to be the Twinkie.
Okay. Now I get it. I was like, not everybody likes those though.
Yeah. I had a deep fried Twinkie in Venice and I was in love with it.
Okay. Well, anything deep fried.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm a huge sweet tooth.
Really?
And so it's so bad.
That's funny.
I mean, I think one of the reasons behind me like working out and staying in shape or running and everything
is just to eat sweet food.
As much as I can.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Yeah. I went to Target and got a Monster Cookie ice cream. We won't even get into it, but it was unreal.
Wow. We're going to put a pin in that one.
Yeah, please.
So what do your friends, family back home think?
It's a good question. It's a very good question.
Supportive, for the most part.
I think we've been lucky. And that first of all, like my dad has always been a musician, not like career wise, but I've always loved dearly that he's such a creative man, and like I said, he always has a guitar in every room.
Yeah,
so you can't help it. If you're sitting there watching TV, you're like, oh, okay, I'll play a couple chords.
Yeah,
you're playing, and that's been good. I think when we started the band, if it wasn't good, he'd be honest. And I kind of respect that. He'd be,
because he said that too.
He's like, it's not my favorite song. And, but at the same time, he supports us every step of the way through. Same with Matt's parents.
Yeah. And the same can be said about our friends too.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when we started in New York and we put on shows.
Come to every show.
Yeah. Friends come to every show.
Wow.
And then the exciting part was seeing like, all right, you play your first show, it's all friends and family. And then you play the next show, you're like, oh, we got some fans from last time.
90-10,
Yeah. And then like by like a few shows deep, you're like, all right, now it's 50% fans and 50% friends and family. And like you want to try to just like
lean off.
But without the support of the friends and family to start with, we wouldn't have gotten those fans.
Yeah.
A lot of shows are like, okay, you want to be on the show? Can you sell 40 tickets? It's okay. Like, I guess so. And then you ask your friend, and then you ask your friend if he wants to bring a friend. And
right.
And so you need that support system, I think, to get started. It's at least harder.
Totally.
And some people would say that support system is crippling because they get inspiration from not from the hardships.
Oh, I do not fuck with that mindset.
I think it's tough. I agree.
I think it's toxic.
I think it's necessary to have a support system.
I think it is too. I get really worked up over that whole you have to suffer for your art, blah blah blah. I don't think that can happen.
Yeah.
And more power, make beauty out of hard times, ugliness, whatever. Yeah. But you don't need to fuck up your life to get there.
Yeah, I agree.
It's self-sabotagey.
And this is where I said that we are, Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl.
Yeah.
This is the Confessions of a Wannabe Rock Band. Where we are very clean-cut guys. For me, personally, I'm super straight edge. Can count on one hand how many times I drank alcohol.
What?
Never done drugs. Never smoked anything.
Shut the fuck up.
The least rock and roll band.
Yeah.
This is becoming a trend.
I've been doing it for 26 years.
Yeah, so you're on it.
I'm the setter at this point. But no, I can't even tell you how many. I don't drink coffee, And at this point, it's especially for him too. He's look at that physique.
Yeah, you both have really good skin.
Thank you.
Wow,
nice.
Knuckle touch, buddy. But yeah, what I'm getting at is that we are not the poster children rock and roll kids that smoke cigarettes and we've always believed that there's a huge sense of business behind a band. And you need to treat it as so. It's a small business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go into that because I feel like it's so under-talked.
No, I mean, for sure. I mean, you cannot, being a band is not sitting around and having a laugh every day. Sure, we have our fair share of great big hearty laughs, but at the same time, the work needs to get done. Yeah. And especially in this day and age, there's not going to be some guy with his pockets full of cash saying, let's do this,
Yeah.
You almost need to treat it like a 9 to 5 where although it might not be 9 to 5, like Jake said, you might wake up at noon, but then you do work from 8 to 2, whatever it is. You need to sit down and put in the work.
You do.
Both on the creative side and then also the business side, because we always say, first of all, most important by far, you need great songs.
Absolutely.
And then you need to get them heard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's out there, the work is just beginning, You get it into people's playlists and this and that, and then we're on to the next thing.
And that's where I think we're very good at being objective of what we need to work on too. Oh my God, it makes me so happy when someone says if someone in the industry or I'll say someone we've networked with tells us what we're bad at. Ooh. I'm in love with them.
Really?
I love it so much. It's amazing, man. Because it's I don't need you to fluff me up and say.
You guys are ready then.
Oh, I love it, man. I love when people tell me what's wrong. Unless they're wrong.
Unless they're wrong, then we don't.
But I seriously do because we've had I think a new area for us is paying for marketing.
Okay.
Because we've kind of decided that we've taken this pretty far ourselves, and we definitely can take it farther ourselves. Sure. But we do want someone in our corner to maybe help us with the marketing because it's not our strongest area.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, and so what we've talked about is that if we're going to do that, we got to put our pride on the shelf a little bit and figure out what's best and what's
well. And are either of you really passionate about marketing?
Not particularly.
Yeah, me neither.
If it was up to me, I'd make a song and someone would push it for me.
I think that's the end goal is once we have a team surrounding us that some handle whatever it is, marketing, social media, this, ideally Jake and I would be in the studio and just working on new things.
We have a great marketing company that we're interested in working on our next record with, and they told us flat out, they're like, oh yeah, your stuff, your social medias look good, but they're not great, oh, you have our YouTube is shit right now. And he's like, oh, you have 800 plus subscribers. Okay, well.
Yeah. It was a compliment sandwich though. He's like, you have really impressive streaming numbers,
Spotify
but
numbers,
he's like, you can get your socials up. And he was just giving us advice. You should take some more casual photos. People like to see that you're just a human.
And that's why I mentioned that before, whereas we need to get better at just being in the moment. Yeah.
Candid-ish.
Yeah.
It was especially over the last year because of COVID, there's no live music.
Yeah.
So we like to throw in pictures of us on stage and remind people we play. Right. But it basically felt like we were just influencers over the past year because it was just model pictures, if you will. You get to do a photo shoot to appear professional, but it's all right. We're a band,
And the attention span for content is killer because
it's only getting shorter.
We'll do this amazing photo shoot and we find out, okay, we can only use 3 of the 1,000 photos we took because they get bored.
Yeah.
You see the like count just drop. It's oh wow, 500 likes is a cool photo. 300, 280.
Yeah, dude, it's
on
crazy.
The next.
Sorry.
It's insane though.
It's quick. It's quick.
insane.
And it's both good. I think for me, I mostly don't like it I'd like people to listen to like when we release a song, this is the most frustrating thing.
Yeah.
We'll work on this song or like record and they'll be like, wow, when's the new music coming out? It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The day after.
Sing all the lyrics to all the songs for me and then ask me when the next song is coming out.
Because people don't get what goes into it.
They don't. And they don't appreciate it enough. You know, for me, on the same day we released our record, the Killers released a record called Pressure Machine. Mm-hmm. Ask Matt. He must get annoyed. I bathe in that record. I brush my teeth to Pressure Machine, you know, and I now have I probably know like 75% of the lyrics. I'm still working on it. And I'll keep listening for the next year.
Right.
And that's just because when you love a band or even like a band, you should give it a shot. Listen to all the songs.
Right. Committed.
Yeah, man.
Can't say I'm like that, but I hear you.
And that's okay.
I'll work, but you're inspiring me to working on it. You know? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I really should.
It's worth it. Because especially even you might find out that, you know, Viva La Vida by Coldplay isn't your thing, that you might like the hardest part off X and Y, a B-side. That's why you gotta give every song a chance, because there's so many records by so many bands where I'm like, oh, I love this song. And it's not in their top 5 most popular. You know, it's a great example for me personally. I was going to visit him in college, and I had just heard Bruce Springsteen's song. So I have a second record called New York City Serenade. Okay. And if you're a Springsteen fan, you love that song, but you're a diehard fan. But anyone that you passed on the street, if you asked 100 people, I guarantee, like 98 wouldn't know it. Yeah. And anyways, when I discovered that song, it was about a 2-hour ride to his college. It's the only song I listened to on repeat the entire way there.
I do that a lot.
And it's just because, like, A, it's fresh, and B, like, once you find something that's so great, you got to give it its time it deserves. Yeah. You know, totally. I wish people would do that more often these days.
And when it hits in that right moment, my boyfriend gets so annoyed because I listen to the same song over and over and over.
It's great.
It's because it's hitting right now. Good. It's literally hitting right now.
I say you keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm really committed to that.
But then on the flip side, I think the good side of like quick content is that it's almost like things can get erased. Maybe you can get out of an era that you maybe didn't love. Like we just released a slow song called "It's Alright, Let Me Go" before the record came out. Yeah, and it did well, but it still was slower than most of our like banger upbeat songs. So we were able to quickly pivot out of in a month or two. It was like, okay, our like counts are low, the streams are slower, but you know what? Let's just go on to the next thing.
But it's someone's favorite song, maybe.
Very true. Because that's the thing. There is a market for it for sure. I think in general, it's not the song. It's more like people prefer the upbeat, happy stuff on a day to day.
I feel that.
You know, and obviously there's some people that don't.
Right. You know, and you never know what hits.
You never know.
Another good thing about like the quick attention span of like today is it's almost like good pressure to always be one step ahead. Mm-hmm. Where like we always want to have a song in our pocket that we can release where it's like, all right, things are slow right now. Let's put out a song next month, you know? Right. So we try to write for a compilation, like an EP, as opposed to like singles. Because we've had advice from like a couple friends that work at labels. They're like, you should release a song at least every 3 months. If you want to stay relevant, like that's what it needs to be.
In 2020, we released 2 songs, I think, Just a Little More and Be the Change. And now in 2021, we were able to release 6 songs. And, and that's why I think, and we're on track. We already have a couple more in our pocket. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is release at least 10 to 12 songs in a year. Okay. So once a month, pretty much, have that capability.
I think that's doable.
Yeah. I think you just got to stay relevant and get ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So let's talk about that though. Like the break, the thing, the tour.
The tour.
How did we get here? How did we get here? How did this occur? Where are you going? Give us the details.
So the tour is in October and November.
And good friends in the Brevet. Yeah. They're good guys.
We're supporting a band called the Brevet.
Love it.
And we're playing in Anaheim.
House of Blues.
Anaheim House of Blues. And then we'll do San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. And then on the East Coast, New York, Philly, and DC. And so fun. Yeah, it'd be awesome because obviously we haven't played since COVID hit, but also, like Jake said, we went through like a lineup change. So this will be our first time with us and a touring member, a good friend of ours named Tim. And we've been rehearsing really hard. So it's just gonna be it's gonna be a blast just to experience that again and like in front of a live crowd and all of this. Because people were doing like virtual performances. Yeah. You know, like a lot of like streaming stuff. Yeah. So we're just excited to be in front of people again.
And I think in terms of the technological side of our set, we have always tried our best to be as organic possible live. And a lot of people use tracks. We use tracks, pre-recorded tracks, and Matt plays to a click.
A click?
Yeah, so like a metronome. Like,
okay.
It basically keep you on time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like,
Yeah, so Matt plays to a click track, and we have like different tracks, different triggers running through the show. And that being said, with the duo, it was a little tougher to stay organic. But that's why we're bringing Tim.
And what does Tim play?
That's we love about him. He's a multi-instrumentalist. Like, similar to myself, he'll play like the show will have to be like guitar, keyboards, vocals, like a little bit of everything. So yeah, we'll switch it up song to song.
Very cool. So how did the tour get organized? Did you organize it? Did someone help you organize it? How did you get the opportunity?
A lot of tours are, they're different. They're all different because like you can get on one through the booking agent. Okay. You can get on one because you know the band and in terms of individual shows, you could say, you could contact the venue or you could, the talent buyer there, or you could contact the band who will get, so there's all different avenues. But for this particular one, we were friendly with the band and that's dope. We told them that we could help them in certain markets and there were certain markets we wanted to break into. Yeah. And they were kind enough to give us, quite a few dates on the tour.
Love that.
Yeah.
This is a dumb question maybe, but like, are you in a van? Are you on a plane?
We sold our van, which sucked. And so just for this tour, we're taking my Toyota Corolla.
Fuck.
Yeah. And it's just because like, again, we talked about it earlier where you need to know where to save your money. We can fit in the Corolla. We don't need luxury and we have a place to stay in each city. Cool. So once we're there, I mean, we're not going to be sleeping in the car or anything. So we're good.
But you're driving.
Yeah. And one of our tours, we slept in the van the whole time. Okay. It's great.
See, these are the questions my brain wonders about.
These are also things I think we're going to look back like fondly on. It's
baby powder showers.
It's like I loved living in the van and sleeping there. And I think if we get to a point where we're like on a tour bus, whatever it is, it's like, oh, I'm going to long for those days almost that we were in the van together.
I agree because some of my best, like it feels like a cliche, but some of my best stories and memories are from struggling on tour. Yeah. Although the lineup has changed, it's still I still love those times. It was good.
Very good. So what would your advice be to somebody who wants to do this?
It's a good question.
Work hard and know that it's not going to happen for you in minus 3 years. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just like, I guess something I really, again, I don't want to keep patting ourselves in the back too much, but I just admire that we persevere a lot. Yeah. And
I think one of like the mantras that we live by as a band, friends and whatever you want to call it is patience and perseverance. Is like if you have something that you're proud of and you think is a good product, which we think our songs are, they're strong, that it's just a matter of time. As long as you continue to work hard and persevere, like it will just happen.
And even more than the patience part, I think what I can highlight about that is just good products and perseverance. Because that's the thing. I mean, like, and it's so arbitrary what you can call a good product because like someone could have a poorly produced record and think that it's the best thing in the world. Yeah. And they can't understand why they're not breaking in. But that's why I think it's important to be objective about your music and to have other people tell you, oh, your production's ass. You should change that. And we've had that happen where we just needed to make necessary upgrades. Sure. Yeah. So for an advice to someone, I'd say write your bad songs, produce them poorly, and then keep working hard. And the next batch, make it better. Yeah. Because I'm so proud of us for this too, that we've always tried to make every batch of songs better. Yeah. In every sense of that. Production and writing. And if you were to go on our Spotify and listen from the earliest stuff we have on there till now, it's evident that the writing has gotten stronger and the production. So.
Well, yeah. And like then each step you just like make this might cost more at first or whatever. You just make that conscious decision.
Yeah. And again, like you just want to keep getting better. It sounds so simple, but like if you can do better than what you released last, you're going to just keep going up.
Yeah. I think the 10,000 hours rule really applies too, where it's like if you put your nose down and like work hard on like what you're doing, then it'll show hopefully through the music or whatever it is that you're doing.
If I played you like some of the first things, like the Jake Stam EP compared to what we're doing now, it's embarrassing. Like what it was. And for a young me to have been like, oh wow, like now that I've recorded this EP, I'm going to get that tour. Right. You're wrong, kid. No, you're not. Like, you need to improve this like 100 times over, and then you still will be considered for the tour. Yeah. and then do it again. And then hopefully eventually you'll get on there and, and so on.
I know. Why do people think it's so easy?
It's not.
It's like 20 steps for like every micro step.
Yeah. And something we wouldn't be, there's an obvious struggle where this is not throwing any, or this is not slinging mud to people who have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
But it's for our lifestyle, it seems like, I don't want to say the easy way out, because it's very hard to work a consistent job like that. But there's a reason that we struggle with this career for fun, just to enjoy it and to enjoy what we're doing. And like I said, we believe there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I think if you work hard, you will get there.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think the reason we deal with some of the hardships of our industry is because we like what we do.
I love that. Okay. Maybe last question.
Hit me.
What was there like a moment ever in time, like that, you were like, this is it. This is the dream. That's it. That's the moment.
I get a lot of that during live shows, like a good live show. You play a good live show, you're like, why would I do anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also just like gratifying to see the growth like over time. Like there are definitely those checkpoints where like that show was amazing and it was validating, or like this song is doing really well and I'm so happy about it. But I think it's like the collective whole where it's like, I'm proud that we came from nothing to now something, and like we're still growing. And like Jake said, I forget who said the quote, but something that stuck with me recently was like, you either work to make your dreams come true or you work for someone else to make their dreams come true. And I was like, damn, it's heavy.
Yeah, that's heavy. I fuck with that. Guys, you guys are so lovely. I'm just so excited to see what happens for you guys.
It was such a pleasure to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Really.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys seriously so much for coming on the podcast. Please tell everybody what's next, where we can find you. We mentioned the tour.
We are It Girls.
Are you?
These are our these are my
I love
confessions.
that. But like people get that. Oh God, this is so bad.
He's good. He's good at this.
Okay, good.
It's either like Nelly or Usher.
I think it's Usher.
Usher. I think it's Usher.
I only know because you and your brother say it.
There's a Glee mashup of it, and it's so good. It's like I'll play it for you guys.
Can you play out this episode with that mashup from Glee?
I'll think about it.
I was gonna say he knows like so many songs. I don't know how you know all these songs, but
I'm the same with TV.
What were some of the songs that I didn't know that you were like, how do you not know this? I didn't know My Sharona. Now I know
My Sharona.
I don't know that.
Thank God.
My Sharona. I don't know. I'll play it to you after.
Okay, good. Great talk.
Thank you for having us on.
Oh my God, of course.
So nice of you.
Much.
Oh my gosh, you guys are
your
so fun.
Your setup is so nice, and dude, thank you for filming.
Thank
you. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Tell us where we can find you.
Okay. Like Jake said, we just released an EP, so it's on all platforms: Spotify, iTunes. Yes. Definitely check out the music.
What's that EP called, buddy?
It's called Be the Change EP, and we have another EP lined up. No definite release date. We're looking at early 2022.
Yeah. Love it.
And then we'll be on tour supporting the Brevet this fall. And you can find tickets on our website.
And who knows, you might see us on our Love Island rerun.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep working to kind of grow and be everywhere we can. And
so pretty much if you look up Friends at the Falls on anything, you will find it. Because I'll tell you how
nice enunciation.
And I always say it's not Friends of the Falls, not Friends from the Falls, Friends at the Falls.
I fuck with the ad.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people were like, oh, what's your band name? It's Friends at the Falls. They're like, friends who fall.
And you'll be surprised how fast it happens, because I have gotten like it borderline not rude, but like I enunciate so hard now where I'm like, oh, what's your band name? Friends at the Falls. And it's like where it's like, oh, Friends of the Falls. Like, no.
Nope. Yeah. Not it.
Nice try.
I wonder what the Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl will turn into.
People are just going to slur it all together. Yeah. You'll see.
I like the term wannabe. I'm using that.
I think use it in an endearing way, though, like not like a bad way.
Yeah.
It's like it's more murpy.
Yeah,
it's like I want to be that, not like I'm not that. I want to be it.
I think the way I'm using it right now is like in like kind of the slick sense of like, this is what you think of me. You think I'm a wannabe. But maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but this is what I'm going to present to you out of that.
And also, like, I think it's so much about where you're going, not what you're
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you guys are wonderful. Please give us your personal Instagrams, too.
Jake Stam. That's Jakestam as in Michael.
Love it.
And Matt Montgomery. I had a guy comment on my page. He's like, "Yo, bro, some of your at Matt Montgomery because there's a handful of Matt Montgomerys." I was like, "There's only one real Matt Montgomery."
I contacted at Jake and I asked him
at Jake at Ja.
Yeah, I contacted both of those.
I think that there is an at Matt. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
You guys are so funny. You guys I thank you guys seriously so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for listening.